Hello and welcome to Levels Plus Whenever episode 149. And today we're tackling amiibo. We're gonna rank them for fun. This was just kind of a silly video idea, and I ran with it, and I had a lot of fun recording it. So I hope that you enjoy it as well. But first, we've got some pickups. We're going to catch up on July pickups before we get into the core of the video. Got the Donkey Kong Bonanza amiibo. Let me get a little bit closer. Dealing with fun lighting at 4 a.m. This is one of my favorite amiibo, not gonna lie. I really like it. On that subject, I've got Donkey Kong Bonanza, which we'll be talking about in the future. I also got some pins from Fangamer of Maya and Francisca. I've got a Sly Cooper plush, also from Fangamer. And now for the big thing. I ordered this back in 2022. Before, I was fully aware of the creep of MISC taking over SNK. Pix and Love had revealed a really cool looking Neo Geo Pocket Selection Volume 2 Collector's Edition. So I ordered it for the Capcom side. Here it is. And it took 2.5 years to finally get it. And Pix and Love did not do any refunds, so I couldn't ask for them to stop sending me a product I no longer wanted. So I just kind of had to suck it up and say, well, I guess I'm getting this. Thankfully, it's very nice. So, back in 2022, SNK was still releasing the Neo Geo Pocket Color Selection games. Card Fighters Clash, Mega Man Battle, and Fighters. I want to say that Biomotor Unitron, and one other of these, like maybe Baseball Stars, actually came out, and then 6 others came with this as exclusives, but they weren't localized or anything. So it comes with a certificate of authenticity. Yeehaw, it's enormous. But the big thing about this is that it's actually a physical version of the Card Fighters Clash game. So you actually get these 2 game boards. You throw your cards on these slots, and then you've got little knobs that you can add to them. It comes with a rule book. This is the knobs box, and there's 2 boxes just stuffed with cards. So I'll just show you a couple. So like here's Batsu from Rival Schools, and here is Ayame from Power Stone. And these are all like right in the midst of one of my favorite eras of Capcom, which is the Dreamcast. So it is just like loaded with characters and references of that time, which I really like. I think that's super rad. And then it also came with a replica Card Fighters Clash Neo Geo Color Pocket box, which is kind of neat. And then it has a whole bunch of these art cards for the 10 games included with this. So this is King of Fighters Battle Day Paradise, which I'm assuming is some sort of card-based board game. The way I'm just looking at it is, I didn't know at the time. There wasn't anything I could do about making this not happen by that point. When I found out all the things with MISC and all of that. So that is the current pickup situation. That will probably be what it's going to be by the time we actually put this episode together. So let's move on to the main event. Flavia wants to real bad. Alright, it is a hot day. I want to unwind a little bit. We're going to do something really silly and rapid fire. We're going to rank amiibo figures today. And I've already removed a bunch of things that I'm not going to talk about, like cards and watches and cereal. There's also an obscene amount of Monster Hunter amiibo that I don't think the majority escaped Japan. I know a few of them did, but a lot of them were GameStop exclusives, and unfortunately that's a really good way to ensure that I will not invest in them. The Skylanders amiibo are also here, as well as the Dark Souls and Diablo amiibo, because I just have no interest. So we can now just kind of focus on the meat of this discussion, which, again, this is very silly. They're toys. But I'm going to rank them based on arbitrary factors that matter to me. So, visual aesthetics, character choice, if they do anything substantial beyond just unlocking a piece of cloth or something. That's kind of how we're running here. You may be surprised at the results of some of my choices. But again, we're going to do this relatively fast because there is a bunch of amiibo down here to get through. I added the most recent additions up through Donkey Kong and Pauline. So the Street Fighter amiibo and the Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. They're not champions, they're guardians or something. And then DK and Pauline. Turtle Lover Tai is the one who originally created the majority of this list. So, with that being said, again, this is completely arbitrary. Alex from Minecraft. I don't like Minecraft. Absolute F. Still mad that this got a second amiibo and Byleth didn't. Byleth gets a D because female Byleth should have also gotten an amiibo. That's an indicator of how this is going to go. Alm is fine. I think his amiibo is perfectly fine. Banjo-Kazooie is an S tier. Fantastic amiibo. Bayo 2 I like a little bit more than Bayo 1 amiibo, but I don't have either of them. Big Man's nice. He's a big boy. But I don't think that he's got a lot of detail, and that's just inherent in his design. Blathers. He's alright as a character. He talks a lot, though. Bobokin, I've never been interested in getting. I think I'd even put that in F tier, because of all the enemies in Breath of the Wild that's not a Guardian, this was not the one I would choose. Boo gets a C. Cute, simple, nothing too fancy. Bowser has 3 different amiibo. The Smash amiibo is C. I would say the Mario standard amiibo is D, and Mario or Bowser in a tuxedo is A. Classy. I don't like Bowser Jr. all that much. His amiibo's fine though, so I'll give it a D. Callie has 2 amiibo. I think Callie's both go in A tier. I don't think either of them are super astounding, but I also really love Callie. Captain Falcon gets an A tier. The downside to him is that I really like him in Smash, is that he's got this gigantic piece of plastic almost going right up his butt to handle the pose that Sakurai decided to put him in Smash 4. A little unfortunate, otherwise he'd probably be an S tier. The Cat Mario Peach amiibo, cute. I will put both in B tier. Didn't buy either of them. Celeste, I'm going to put next to her brother. Perfectly fine amiibo. Did not buy it. Celica can go in B. Not the best Fire Emblem amiibo. Charizard can go in C, perfectly fine, but I don't have any interest. Chibi Robo can go in C, also perfectly fine, have no interest. Chrom is a much better amiibo than these two. And this is his Fire Emblem version. And then his Smash version is also great. He is, for all intents and purposes, the only Fire Emblem character to get 2 amiibo, if I remember right. We'll see if I'm proven wrong. Cloud, I think both of those are really solid amiibo. Both of them get A's. I hate Corrin. Both of them can go in F. Cyrus is fine, but I don't really care for his character, so he's down in D tier. I have the Smash Daisy amiibo. It's an A tier. Great, great detail. Her standard Mario amiibo is C tier. It's kind of boring. Dark Pit can go in D tier. Totally adequate amiibo, character I could care less about. Dark Samus goes in S tier because the detail on it is really something. Starts with a D and I forget his name. Not an indicator of how much I like this character. I do have him, so I will put him in C. I just never remember what his name is. Detective Pikachu gets a B for size. Big guy. Diddy Kong has 2. I think his Mario amiibo is actually better than his Smash amiibo. Because he's got, from what I can tell, this gigantic yellow plastic going up behind him. Really weird, arbitrary choices on some of the plastic stands that they put on early Smash amiibo. The Mario one is definitely better. This guy, Dogger? He's fine. But I just don't remember him. DK now has 3. We're going to go ahead and slap DK and Pauline up in the S tier because I am so excited to have that amiibo. I think that his Smash amiibo falls in C and his Mario one is kind of comparable. Both of them are totally fine. I don't like Dr. Mario. Duck Hunt is a solid B tier. I wouldn't mind having this amiibo if I came across it. The Emmy is imposing. It's a larger than usual amiibo. Has a really good pose. I'm down. Fox and Falco are going to go in C. I think both of them are perfectly fine amiibo. Unfortunately, Fox has the blue plastic for some reason. Which is going to make me dump him in D tier because I really don't know why they did that. And I'm only letting Captain Falcon get away with it because at least it wasn't like bright pink or something. Fry is great. I really like the aesthetics of her amiibo a lot. A Ganondorf Smash can go in B because I think his Tears of the Kingdom one is A. Goomba is a D. Not much to really write home about, but the Yarn Yoshis are S. S, all of them, and we'll get them all up there eventually. Greninja is a C. Perfectly fine. Guardian I don't have because I ended up getting a Nindoroid, but I think that's an S tier amiibo. Just really well done. The Hero, kind of in the same boat. A nice amiibo, but why did we only get Dragon Quest XI Hero? We should have got 4, 3, 8 as well. And it's one of those things where it's like, I know why Minecraft got 2. I know why Minecraft got 2, because it was incredibly easy to make 2 of them because they're the same freaking shape. I don't care. I'm still bitter about it. Ice Climbers. I like Ice Climbers a lot. I think they're an A tier. For a character that I don't really give that much of a hoot about, the amiibo's quite nice. Ike is fine. He's a B tier. I think that's a pretty solid amiibo. Incineroar is also a B tier. Very nice. And again, I'm not the biggest Pokemon fan, but I do think that amiibo is quite nice in detail. Oh, Splatoon. I love Splatoon amiibo, like, irrationally. I don't have the Smash Inkling Girl, because I have this one. And this is my first amiibo, so I have sentimental value for it. So it's S tier. This one I think is C, because it doesn't have the ink accoutrement the way that the Splatoon one does. Inkling Boy, I think, is B. I've never liked the original Inkling Boy design all that much, but I think the amiibo is well made. And then we get into Splatoon 1 duplicates, and I'm just going to slap both of those in F, because I don't know why they felt compelled to do that. I'm glad they didn't get too much into the habit of recolors. The Splatoon 2 standard amiibo, I think, are great, though. I think both of them get more dynamic, have really nice effects with the ink. I think they're both great. These three amiibo, again, I'm going to give the original green guy a B tier. I'm going to give the orange one a D tier, because the orange is at least a nice color. And then the Splatoon 2 one, which goes even harder, can go up there. And then the Inkling Girl from Splatoon 3, another S tier. Great pose, really captures the new vibe of Splatoon 3 very well. Alright, little Splatoon break. Don't know why we have a Splatoon break, but we do. Isabelle has 3. 2 Animal Crossing and a Smash. I had the Smash one. I think the Smash one is the most dynamic and most interesting. Her standard one, I'm going to plop in D, because it's very just static and uninteresting. At least this one, she's waving, and she's got a different outfit. Ivysaur can go in B, a solid amiibo for Pokemon. Very action-packed. I like all the Street Fighter amiibos. Jamie I would actually consider buying when he's on sale. He's not my favorite character that was added in Street Fighter 6, but I think that since I don't have a pop-up parade of him and I don't want one, if he goes on sale, I will buy him. But all 3 of these amiibo, and I'm just going to go ahead and grab them and just throw them all up here now. I think all of them are excellent. They are bigger than most of the amiibo. They are also more expensive. Kimberly was the only one I could justify at that price, because I love Kimberly. But I do think all of them, the quality on their effects and the fact that they're bigger and they have a little bit more detail to their sculpts, they deserve to be up there. I've never liked Jigglypuff, I'm sorry. Joker has great effects. The fire's really nice, great pose. The way that they put him into the fires, they didn't have to do a silly plastic stand. Ingenious. I'm actually going to bump that up in the A tier, even though I have no real major interest in Joker as a character. I think his amiibo is incredibly solid. 2 more Animal Crossing. KK Slider's going to get a pass into C because I like the character. Captain is just boring. He has nothing going on. I'm going to go ahead and throw Kicks there too. Same problem. Kazuya is a nice build, but I think that in comparison to some of the other amiibo, he's kind of dull. He's not really doing anything that screams Kazuya to me. He's just standing there. And his pose is so wide that they had to put little caps on his feet so he could actually be there. So I think he's fine. He's the one I didn't purchase. Ken I did buy. I think he's a good B. He's got the same stand problem because his stance is too wide. But his detail is very nice, and I like Ken. We have 2 DDDs. We have the Kirby line and the Smash line. I think the Kirby line isn't as nice. I think the Smash one's better. I don't have either. DDD is my least favorite of the Kirby trio. So I just had no interest. But those are my thoughts. I think K. Rool's a really good amiibo. I don't know if it's quite S tier, but I'm putting him up there because he's got a great attention to detail. His face is fantastic. There's shreds on his cape. He's got a nice shiny belly where he should. It's great. I don't like King Knight, and I think that King Knight is the worst looking of the Shovel Knight amiibo. He looks the most like a toy compared to the others. So that's my hot take. Kirby. The standard Smash Kirby is boring. The Kirby line Kirby is better. I like him being on a Warp Star, and he's cute. Koopa Troopa is a D. Look at that. It's another Yarn Yoshi. Look at that. Just throwing it up there. Let's go ahead and get the giant one, which is even better, and that's the one I have. Let's go grab the pink one as well and just get them all up there. These were all hand-stitched, and they look great. I wouldn't probably add any of the small ones to my collection, but I really like my giant one. Alright, we've got a plethora of links. So many links. I think the Smash Link is not good. He had that horrid yellow stand. I don't really like his pose all that much. I just don't think it's a very good amiibo. They did make a Twilight Princess amiibo that represents the series in the Zelda line, and I think that that's a better choice. It's not my favorite pose, but I do think it's just a better quality amiibo because he doesn't have this ugly yellow stand. I love the Breath of the Wild Link. That's one of my favorite links. I think I would also consider throwing Horse Link up that high. The Breath of the Wild amiibo are all excellent. Tears of the Kingdom, just to skip ahead a little bit, I'm going to put him in A. I don't think he's as dynamic as the Breath of the Wild versions, but still good. The Link's Awakening one is cute. I'm going to put that in A tier for just capturing the vibe of that game very, very well. Majora's Mask Link, great use of the pose. I think that Ocarina of Time Link is a really iconic piece of art. Skyward Sword is B, because they had to put the silly feats. And I do like the Pixel amiibo, but I've never bought either of them, Mario's or Link's, and they haven't made any other ones. If they did a Samus, I would probably consider it. Out of the Links, I have Breath of the Wild Link, I have Link's Awakening Link, I have Tears of the Kingdom Link, and that's it. Little Mac, I don't have him. I think he's perfectly fine, though. Lottie is kind of in the characters I don't care about from Animal Crossing line. Cario's kind of in the same boat. Lucas, I'm going to put in C. I think his amiibo is perfectly adequate, but I've always preferred an S. Lucina is one of my favorite early amiibo. Oops. Not in the don't care pile. I really like Lucina's amiibo a lot, and it helps that I love her character. Excellent all the way around. Luigi Smash goes in F tier because of this weird plastic nonsense. A standard Luigi can go in C tier. I think that's one of the better just generic Mario amiibos. Mabel at least is doing a little bit of a pose, so I will bump her up into C tier. Alright, we've got Marie. Marie I like a little bit less than Callie, but I do think that she deserves, this one deserves to be A tier. This one, though, is S tier because they gave her the umbrella, and I think the umbrella gives so much added value, so to speak, because it just adds so much to her character having it. So that's an S tier. Marina is S for both. I'm sorry, I have a bias for Off the Hook, and Marina is my favorite Splatoon character. You're just going to have to deal with it. Alright, we got a bunch of Mario. Not all of Mario, because Mario's just kind of everywhere. I've never really cared for his Smash amiibo. I don't like the fire effect. It doesn't look very good to me. His standard Mario line amiibo is perfectly fine. I would put it in C tier. I don't have any of the Mario amiibo. We'll go ahead and give Tux Mario a B, because at the very least it's a different outfit. The two Pixel ones. I think both of those kind of hang out with Link. I do think I like the colored one a little bit more than the original Super Mario Brothers one, but both are nice, and I think they are a little bit better than the Link one, but they're about the same level. Metal Mario. I briefly had him, but decided that I didn't care to keep him. And Gold Mario, both of them can go in the B tier. Again, I'm very thankful that the recolor phase of Amiibo is not super prevalent, because this is basically another redo of the Splatoon ones. Marth is a great early Smash amiibo. I'm going to put him in A tier. I don't love him like I do Lucina's, but I do think his is great. Original Mega Man for Smash, I'm going to put that in B tier. Not my favorite pose. We'll go ahead and put Gold in the same lineup. And then Mega Man 11 amiibo, I think is actually the worst. I don't like his face. I don't know why. Meta Knight has 2 cool amiibo. I have this one, and I'm going to put it in A tier. I think his Batwing Smash one should be higher, but the plastic stand in the back is so noticeable. I love this Metroid amiibo. The problem with it is I feel like the plastic on the Metroid itself is going to get weird soon. It's just a weird texture. But it is a really cool amiibo, one of the best ones, I think. I love Mewtwo. I love this pose. I'm going to put him in A tier. Actually, I'm going to put him in S tier because I really like this amiibo a lot. All the Miis can just hang out in F tier together. I really don't like the Miis. Min Min is a great amiibo. Really dynamic pose. Great effects hiding the stand that she needs to be able to be propped this way. Great attention to detail. One of the best Smash Ultimate amiibo. Mio. I really like Mio's amiibo, to the point that I didn't buy the more expensive figure of her because I like the amiibo a lot. Mipha is one of my favorite characters in Breath of the Wild, and I think her amiibo is quite nice. In comparison to the Guardian amiibo that we got with Tears, it's not as nice, but I really like her character in Breath, so she can still be up there. Mr. Game & Watch gives you 3 amiibo for the price of 1. It's a static, flat pose, but it's still kind of neat. So I'm going to let him hang out there. Pyra and Mithra. I'm going to go ahead and grab Pyra as well. Pyra can hang out in D tier. I would put her in F, but they actually had the cosmetic changes to her outfit that makes it less egregious to me. But I think Mithra's design is so much better with the Smash changes that I actually will put it in S tier. I don't like Xenoblade 2's art style at all. And it bugs me that Pyra and Mithra are one of my favorite characters to play in Smash Ultimate. I love Ness. I think he's an S tier. I think that his amiibo is incredibly charming. And just captures the essence of the Earthbound art style. Noah is a solid amiibo, but I don't love him as much as Mio or Shulk, so he can hang out there. Alright, we got a few more amiibo. We got the Splatoon 3 Inkling, which I think is not as good as some of the others. The effects are a lot more downplayed because he's crouching. The Octolings are fun. They've got great poses that are, I think, S tier worthy in my opinion. And they don't have stands holding them up. The Octoling is kind of in the same boat with these ones, so I'm going to go ahead and just lump it there. Olimar Smash version, I think. Did Olimar have a Pikmin version? I don't remember. Anyway, his is kind of boring, but at least he has Pikmin with him, so he gets in C tier. Pac-Man is a solid C. Great iconic face, really nice sculpt, but pretty simple. Palutena is an S because they went pretty hard on her for the Smash 4 line. She has this extra plastic wings behind her. Her hair is super long. She's got a lot of detail and little extra things on her. A really great Smash 4 amiibo. I don't like the Peach amiibo for Smash all that much. I'll be completely honest. It's at least the early sculpt. The latter ones are better. And I actually have, I think, this amiibo now, but it was the later sculpt, so her face is better. But this will be in D tier because it didn't start well. I also am going to put her regular amiibo in D tier because it's kind of old Peach, and I'm more of a fan of new Peach. I will put her bride outfit in C tier though, because at least it's something a little different. Pearl is going into S tier because my bias for Off the Hook is impossible to stop. But I also think both of them are fantastic amiibo. I really like the Splatoon 3 side order Off the Hook amiibo. We are making progress. Not much more left. Pichu I don't care for. Regular Pikachu I think is kind of boring. The Pikmin amiibo at the very least is doing something a little bit more with it. I'll put it in B tier. I think there was some effort put in there to get all of them in. Piranha Plant is nice. C tier. Probably one of the better Mario enemy amiibos. I have Pit. I don't remember if he's got the blue plastic or clear plastic, but the earlier one had blue. At the very least, it's appropriate because he's an angel that can fly. So B tier for Pit. Plague Knight. I like his a lot. I think it's one of the best Shovel Knight line. So I'll put him in B tier. A Pokemon Trainer at the very least is pointing. Poochie's another yarn Yoshi. And I'll put him in S tier. I don't have him, but he's well made. Box Boy, I think. I don't know why he's so far down the list. Is cute, but there's not really much else to say about it. Rob got two colors. The Famicom one goes into C tier, and the regular one can go into B tier. I think it's actually a very nice amiibo with a nice level of detail. I just wish the pose was a little bit more interesting. I will put you with your husband. Reese, had to think about your name. Rossetti is so boring. I'm actually going to put him in F tier because they could have done him popping out of the ground in something really fun and creative, and he's just standing there, and it's really not Rossetti to me. I don't like Rivali. I'm going to putting him in D tier because he's got a nice level of detail. Richter is S tier, even with his little booties, keeping him on a stand. I love Castlevania. So him and Simon are going to be jumping up there. And I'm just going to go ahead and grab Simon and scoot him into S tier. So the Belmonts can hang out together. Ridley is also going into S tier if I could grab him because he is spectacular. What a great amiibo. Really captures his villainous edge. Riju is great. I like hers a lot. I don't think I would put it in S tier, but her level of detail is really nice, but I think she's a little outplayed by the others, honestly. Robin is a solid B tier, but I didn't buy him. The two Rosalinas. I have the Mario one. I think the Mario one is a C tier. I feel like this one is D tier. Not only was there a weird controversy with some weird guy thinking that he wanted Rosalina Auto himself, so he bought every single one of these that he could online. Weirdo. But I don't like the stand holding the Luma up. It stands out too much. A Rover could go in D tier because it's just another Animal Crossing amiibo. Roy is kind of boring. I'm not gonna lie. Compared to a lot of his Fire Emblem brethren, he's not in a good pose. He's just kind of standing there. If I wasn't upset about F Byleth not making it, I probably would have him up in at least C. But I am upset about it, so he's going to stay there. Ryu, even with the boots, I'm going to put next to Ken, because I think the two of them are really nicely made and complement each other. They're not as nice as the Street Fighter 6 amiibo, but they are nice. Dread Samus is going into C tier. I don't like her pose as much as the Samus Returns one. It just feels a little awkward, and she's got a stand to keep her in this position. I think there were better poses for her that they could have used than this one. She just seems really crunched. I think the Samus Returns one, on the other hand, is an S-tier Samus. I've always loved the huge shoulders in Samus Returns' armor. Honestly, the best thing about Samus Returns is the various suit. Not gonna lie. I am gonna put this Samus in D tier. It is the other M armor. It is a pose that doesn't really strike me as Samus. Kind of disappointing, honestly. I have it, and that was just more for completionist purposes. And while we're on the subject of Samus, let's grab Zero Suit Samus and her giant plastic stand and put it in D tier. I actually really don't like Zero Suit Samus, but I do think that the amiibo is made well enough, despite the enormous stand holding her up, that I will not put it in the bottom ranks of F tier. So I'll throw out this S tier. Jesus, they went hard on him, and it shows. Really great amiibo. Sheik could go into S tier. Again, giant plastic stand, kind of taking away from it. I think she deserved a little bit better than the Smash 4 pose. I think the Smash 5 pose is better. But Shiver could go into S tier because I love Shiver. Gold Shovel Knight. I think I'm gonna actually dump Gold Shovel Knight into F tier because you actually got something extra if you went and bought this amiibo and it was super rare and it was annoying. I'm gonna put regular Shovel Knight though in D tier. Shulk can go in A tier. I think that he's pretty good for a Smash 4 amiibo, but not as good as Mio, because the quality has just gotten better over time. Sidon is an S tier. This is an amazing amiibo. The best of the tiers Guardians, easily. Amazing level of detail. Little guy can go in A tier because he's got little salmon eggs that add a lot to his amiibo above his. Actually, I'm gonna dump little man here into S tier because I think that the salmon eggs and his expression just really give it a nice edge. Snake's got the booties, and I think it's a good pose that captures the essence of Snake, but it is not the character that A, I like, or B, want to own an amiibo for. Sonic is C tier because of the plastic stand. If they just put his foot down straight, he would have been fine. Sora is an amiibo I don't own, but I think it's an A tier amiibo in terms of quality. Really well made. I just don't care for Kingdom Hearts, so I will never own that amiibo, but I think it's really good. Spectre Knight is B tier as well. I think it's a little bit more plasticky toy than Plague or Shovel, but still a great amiibo of a character that I like. You can tell that they did not work with the same team that Nintendo's toy designers do. Squirtle at least is a D tier for the cute face. Steve can rot in F. Terry, despite my current feelings about SNK, I think the Terry amiibo is an S. It just so captures his personality. His hair gives it a nice little extra accoutrement. Tiki's an amiibo I'd like to get, but I haven't yet, and I'm not in the biggest hurry to. More Animal Crossing. Let's just knock out the rest of the Animal Crossing amiibo. Timmy and Tommy at least have 2 of them, so I'm going to put them in C. Tom is kind of boring. Again, F tier, or D tier. Not quite F tier. Villager is also D tier. I just don't think he's that interesting. And I think we have finally finished all of the Animal Crossing amiibo. Toad is in D tier. Just not a very interesting pose. Toon Link, regular or Smash version, I think is D. I don't think it's a great pose for him. I think that Toon Link Zelda version is B tier. Really captures the Wind Waker key art really well. Tulin is great. Another A-level amiibo for the Tears of the Kingdom line. Her name escaped me. Urbosa. There we go. Urbosa is right here. I think one of the best of the champions. Waddle Dee just looks like he blew a gigantic fart. Waluigi captures his menacing essence, but again, I just think the Mario amiibo generally are kind of boring, and these two characters should be more dynamic. I also really am not the biggest fan of his WarioWare Smash amiibo. Wii Fit Trainer, she didn't have that stand. I'd probably put her in C for the memes, but that stand is a problem. Wolf is S tier. I love the Wolf amiibo, one of my absolute favorites of the entire line. Speaking of wolves, Wolf Link, or Midna, is also an S tier amiibo. This is arguably my favorite one of all of them. I think this is such a well done amiibo and has one of the best gimmicks in that you can unlock Wolf Link in Breath of the Wild and build up a wolf in Twilight Princess HD. Such a cool idea. Kind of glad they stepped away from that though, because putting an entire gameplay mode behind an amiibo gimmick kind of sucks in hindsight. Regular Yoshi, I don't like either of them. I at least think that one's D tier. This is just Yoshi wanting you to look at his twerk. Ocarina of Time Young Link, or is this Smash Young Link? This is Smash Young Link. I get mixed up. It's a good pose, so I'm going to put it in B tier. Yunobo is a good pose. It has a plastic stand. Kind of stands out a little bit, but I think it's a good pose, and I like it more than the other Goron guy down there. And last but not least, the Zelda amiibo. I think that the Tears of the Kingdom one is an S tier. It just really captures so much about her in that game. I also think the Skyward Sword Zelda is an S tier. For effort, the Loft Wing is really nice, and it's a really tall amiibo compared to most. I think Twilight Princess has a purple stand in its original model. It's clear now on the one I have. But because of the purple, we're going off of launch, and she had kind of a rough face at first. I like Toon Zelda. I wish it was Tetra. So, C tier. And then Breath of the Wild Zelda, I really like, but not quite as much as the other two. So we'll put it in A tier. Alright, thank you for joining me in this impromptu amiibo assemblage. Episode 150 is right around the corner. That'll happen on August 6th. I don't quite know 100% what I'm doing for it yet, but it will be reflective of the site anniversary of Levels Plus, which is hitting 24 years of existence. Oh, time. What is time? Thank you so much for joining me today. I will see you in the next episode once that happens. Take care, friends. Static Mario Crossing, making up new games.